Ah, creativity. Everyone tells you to make a plan, stick to the plan, follow the plan. But what happens when the plan is rubbish? Or when you'd rather tear up the plan and dance barefoot in the dark? Today on Creativity GGG, Chris takes us into the wilderness. No compass, no luggage, no tidy map, just the raw art of going wild.
I had a conversation with a friend recently, and they exuded this spirit, this sort of a peace about them, like a calm. And I first met this person walking in the park, and they were standing there looking at a tree. They were enraptured by this tree, and I thought, I struck up a conversation, and we became friends. So this is a while ago, and then the other day I met them at a coffee house. We were talking about something. Now, I've always found that peace can mask turmoil. I mean, it's hard to describe what I mean, but, deep wounds sometimes are covered over, and peace can be a compensation. And I always get quiet and listen when I meet priests or somebody I think is a prophet or somebody might be a saint, because behind the light there's always a shadow. Behind the light there's always a shadow. Think about it. When next time you meet a saint, I mean, there's more saints in the world than you might think, but the darkness is what leads us to light. I think it's what I mean. In other words, if you have deep wounds in your life, or you've had trauma, and you work on that, trying to find your way through it, you will eventually get to a place where you have that under control. You're controlling it through prayer or however you're doing it, and there'll be a calm and a peace about you. But underneath that is a shadow. A shadow. I mean, we've all got them, but I think it's more noticeable in saints in a lot of ways. The darkness is what leads us to light. But people hide the darkness. And you have to watch carefully to see it. And I think it's important to see it, because the shadow is what shows us the full person, not just the one you're having a conversation with. So we're sitting in this coffee house and we're talking about something that's in my future that I have to kind of deal with, some stuff, some wounds, some uncomfortable stuff. My friend said something that caught my ear. They said that their technique for getting ready to deal with things was to get wild. I mean, I didn't know what it meant, but it really caught my ear, to get wild. And we talked about that, and she told me what she meant. And what it meant was to follow no path, put away the compass, and wander. Oh, I loved it. I mean, I loved it, because I realized that I've been doing the same thing since I was a kid. No plan, no luggage, no map, just go, just get wild. That's kind of like what I've been doing. So putting together a show like I'm doing with this show Song in Space is trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle with no final picture on the box. There are pieces everywhere, and you want them all to fit. But what if the logic is there is no logic? What if you took that approach? Instead of trying to be analytical and logical, just accept that there's no logic at all. The puzzle will take its own shape. The story follows its own songline. You're just going into the wilderness. You're just getting lost. You're just going wild. So when you work through multiple drafts of a script, it's easy to lose your way And it's easy to write yourself into a box canyon. I mean, the character Song in Song in Space gets stranded on an asteroid, and you plan for her escape a certain way, but it feels predictable. That's maybe when you spin the dial. Let something open. Ask, what if, until you find a new way through. What if the canyon itself has a door I never saw? How do you keep things cooking? Well, you add spice you've never used before. A rhythm, a character, a twist in the harmony. Suddenly, the draft tastes different. Suddenly, the canyon isn't a dead end. It's a secret passage. You've gone wild. You've gone wild. That's what going wild does. It saves the story from itself. That's what going wild does. It saves you from yourself. I can't tell you how many times I've gone wild in my life. I like traveling without any destination in mind, and I've done it. I don't like plans. I don't like making dinner reservations. I don't like deciding where I'm going to go. I like just going. One thing I do as I wander the world and go into different cities and places I've never been before is I just get on a bus and just go where the bus is going and get on a train. I went to Tokyo, and I didn't speak the language, and I didn't read the language, and the language wasn't readable in the most basic sense to me because of the way it was written with characters. So I ended up on the subway actually having no idea even where the exit was. And I just kind of went with it. I took the subways that came in, and I got off when I felt like getting off, and I just took the direction, and I wandered around the tunnels. And then I came up into the streets. I had no idea where I was. I was completely lost, and I loved it. I really loved it. It's dislocation. It's walking the maze. You can use going wild to get past roadblocks, to find inspiration in a drought, to uncover different perspectives, reveal the true center of the story. Well, what can that look like? I mean, what can going wild look like in your creativity? Well, you could change your medium. Suppose you're playing piano, and you're kind of bored with that. So try getting a piece of charcoal and doing a sketch. It's almost better to not have any training in doing a sketch, but just go with it. Everybody can draw, whether you think you can or not. Everybody can play the piano, whether you think you can or not. Get on a bus without having a clue where it's going. Switch buses at random. Talk to strangers. That's one my wife does a lot, and to me, it's a skill, a miracle. She meets people wherever we go, not just meets them, but gets to know them, becomes friends with them. She's just open. There's a sort of certain wildness to it. I've lived a wild life. I've traveled my whole life. I started traveling when I was a kid. I was traveling last week. It's like a whole lifetime of travel. I've been in places I shouldn't have been, and I've been in places that I didn't want to go. And, there's always something, no matter where you are, for you to learn. It can be not easy to live that way, to kind of just go and just get lost. People don't always accept your wild ways. I mean, you go out to a small town in Australian outback, and you say to them, "Oh, I just kind of wandered here," and they look at you like you're crazy, like they don't want to be there, and they don't know why you want to be there, and you're there, and you're like, "No, this place is cool. This place is beautiful," and they're like, "This place is like a street with 4 buildings on it," but somehow dislocating yourself gives you a different view of it. But the people that are there, they may not accept that. There are people like us out there. lots of people wandering, living a wild life, listening to song lines, finding new paths. When you're working as an artist, finding a new path is sort of like, a breakthrough is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. I've always exercised my creativity as many different ways as I can. I've been a lighting designer. I've been a set designer. I've been a advertising copywriter. I've been a jingle writer. I've been a composer. I've been a songwriter. I've been a performer in coffee houses. I've written novels. I've written business books. I've been a speaker. But more than anything, I think of myself as a traveler. Just a traveler, just kind of going places and finding things. We did it a couple weeks ago. We didn't know where we were going. And, we didn't, we just drove, and then at around 4, because the sun was going down and I don't like driving at night, we'd look for a place to stay. We'd look around. Where are we? Let's find a place near here. And we found some great hotels and great little motels and, met some people and ate in some really cool restaurants, and none of that was planned. You take apart your temples, you take apart your ideas, and you rebuild them in strange new forms. Life is kind of like a montage. Life is just triangles and squares and circles that you can kind of put in different arrangements. And you can take the word forbidden and you can rewrite it as permission. You can go wild. We're at a moment in history that's pretty odd, I'm a student of history. I've studied history in depth my whole life. And we're at this really odd moment that I can't quite find an example of it. There's just been nothing like the digital world and social media. And, I'm not a big fan because as these digerati have taken control, the world has become kind of yucky, to be honest with you. But everything tells us to fit in, but we don't fit in. Everything tells us to surrender, but we don't really want to surrender. We want to sing harmony, but we may not want to sing it in this choir. We want to sing it in that choir. We are wild, all of us. And I think if we accepted the wildness in ourselves, and if we accepted the wildness in others, the world would be a little bit better place. But what I'm really talking about is wild in your creativity. Just getting outside the envelope. Going wild. Getting lost. Taking a new bus. I think that was the truth we were talking about at that coffee shop. Wildness isn't chaos. Not the wildness we meant. It's not chaos. It's the deeper order of things. The current underneath the map. When we put the compass away, when we dare to wander, we discover. We put the puzzle together a new way. We find a new end for the story. I've never really been lost at all, even though I have a life of being lost behind me. I think I was just always ready to get wild enough to see the world the way the world wanted to be seen by me. It's my perspective that counts, that's different, that is what the world is asking for, not the perspective that's expected, but the perspective that's unexpected. Get wild. Just get wild with your creative. Go on, get wild. But why? Why do you want to get wild? Well, when you get wild, you're going to get to a place. And what are you going to find there? What are you going to see? You are going to see your shadow. your shadow. And when you see your shadow with the clarity of being lost, you're going to find yourself.
So, today you've been reminded that sometimes the box canyon isn't a trap. It's just waiting for a new door to be drawn. And yes, Chris will probably keep tossing mystery spices into his creative stew until the pot boils over. That's what wild ones do, I guess. No map required, no recipe followed. This has been Creativity GGG. Now off you go. Wander, stir, scribble, sing, and don't forget to get wild. And if you're ready to wander even further, visit songinspace.com. Join us, become an audionaut. It's the wild thing to do. GGG.